Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Devo with Doug. I'm Doug Campbell, and I'm glad that you joined me once again. Please, I hope you don't mind me wearing the sunglasses. Don't think I'm trying to be cool or anything. I've kind of committed to doing this outside because it's so nice out. And the sun is just right at that point where I just don't want to be squinting into the camera because I felt that might be a little bit more distracting. So I hope you forgive me for the sunglasses as we read into the scripture a bit here. Today I was thinking, obviously, kind of what the world, at least the religious world and a lot of even non-religious people at this time, when we get close to Easter, it might be one of two times where the secular world at least is hearing about Jesus, is hearing or seeing things in editorials or things like that, maybe on the internet about Jesus. It might be the only exposure that they have to Jesus is during these times where we have big holidays, that celebrate Jesus. You know, Christmas is a big one where much of the world celebrates his birth, and then of course Easter Sunday, often referred to also as Resurrection Sunday, is another huge one where, of course, we celebrate. The world often celebrates Jesus' resurrection on that Sunday. And we'd be remiss if we were to just kind of ignore these holidays, even though as God's followers and students of the Holy Bible and His Word, we know that there aren't, those dates are not in here. December 25th is not in here. I honestly don't even know how they come up with Easter and what dates those fall on every year. But I think it makes sense to not look past those holidays and to welcome them. There are a lot of holidays that have nothing to do with God. There are a lot of, most of our days here on earth have nothing to do with God. Even the names of the days of the week, are named after mythical gods. Like, Thursday is Thor's Day, named after a mythical god. So when we come upon something like Easter, why would we not want to celebrate that? And of course, we don't want to just celebrate once a year, and that's kind of always the hang up, right? We focus on it this one time, and the rest of the world thinks that this is the only time to focus on it. Yes, every Sunday is Resurrection Sunday. These scriptures, some of these scriptures that I want to read tonight, yes, we should be reading them throughout the year. But with all that said, I do want to read, leading up to the cross here. I want to kind of pick up right after the Lord's Supper, right after Jesus predicts Peter's denial, and pick up in Gethsemane here. So without further ado, if you'll follow along with me, please. I'm going to start in Mark chapter 14, verses 32, and we'll go to 52. Mark chapter 14, verses 32 through 52. They went to a place called Gethsemane, and Jesus said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." He took Peter, James, and John along with him, and he began to to be deeply distressed and troubled. My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. He said to them, Stay here and keep watch. Going a little further, he fell to the ground and prayed that, if possible, the hour might pass from him. Abba, Father, he said, everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will. Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. Simon, he said to Peter, are you asleep? Could you not keep watch for 1 hour? Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak. Once more he went away and prayed the same thing. When he came back, he again found them sleeping, because their eyes were heavy. They did not know what to say to him. Returning the third time, he said to them, Are you still sleeping and resting? Enough! The hour has come. Look, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer. Verse 43, just as he was speaking, Judas, one of the 12, appeared. With him was a crowd armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him and lead him under guard. Going at once to Jesus, Jesus said, Rabbi, and kissed him. The men seized Jesus and arrested him. Then one of those standing near drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his ear. Am I leading a rebellion, said Jesus, that you have come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I was with you, teaching in the temple courts, and you did not arrest me. But the scriptures must be fulfilled. Then everyone deserted him and fled. A young man wearing nothing but a linen garment was following Jesus. When they seized him, he fled naked, leaving his garment behind. That leads right into when they bring Jesus before the Sanhedrin. After that, we, continue. I encourage you to continue reading this. After that, we know Peter denies Jesus 3 times. Disowns him, and. Just as he said he wouldn't, and just as Jesus predicted that he would. And then Jesus goes before Pilate, the crucifixion, the burial, the resurrection. Just a story, again, that the most important story, the gospel story, is one that we should be reading continually throughout every day and every year, not just once a year. This is the story that we are to tell others. This is the foundation of Christianity, the foundation of if these events did not actually occur, we are to be pitied more than anyone. And we believe that they did occur, and these witnesses have written these down for us to not only to believe, but for us to take this story to others and spread it, continue to spread it throughout the world. So if this is a time period that is a good time period where people might be a little bit more open to even hearing the word Jesus, hearing the word Christ, hearing the word Messiah, where maybe other times of the year, maybe it's a little bit more awkward. Maybe this is a more comfortable time to bring this message to others and to give these details to others, because we can't assume that everybody knows the gospel story. We can't assume that, because in fact, if we assume anything, we assume that not everybody knows it. We see here in Gethsemane, this is a very the most like this is one of those times where we see the human side of Jesus, because he was in fact 100% human when he came to this earth, even though he was also 100% God, and that's the beauty of it, and the mystery of it all. How can those two things exist? But they did, and they only did through Jesus, and it's beautiful. But here, verse 36, he cries out to his Father, everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will. This is Jesus praying earnestly to God, knowing what's coming, knowing the suffering that's coming, knowing that he's knowing the pain that's coming. He again is fully human and feels the exact same things we would feel in his situation: the torture, the whipping, the lashes, the nailing to the cross, the hanging there, and the tearing of flesh, and just agony. He knows all that's coming. And do you think that he's looking forward to that pain? No. He's looking forward to what's to come. He knows why he has to go through that, and he knows he's going to fulfill his Father's promise. So sure, he's looking forward to that, but he's not looking forward to the pain any more than any of us would be looking forward to that pain. But that's why he follows up that statement, yet not what I will, but what you will. I mean, the human side of Jesus would like another way if there's another way to fulfill this. And he says, but not my will, but yours, Father. Peter, when I read in verse 47, it mentioned one of those standing near drew his sword. We know that one. I believe it was mentioned, John mentions him by name. That was Peter. He drew his sword. And I think in John is where we read, Jesus picks up the guy's ear after Peter cut it off, the servant of the high priest, and Jesus picks up the man's ear, puts it back on there, and heals him. Like, this isn't, as he says here, he asks the guards, am I leading a rebellion that you come at me with these swords and clubs to capture me? And this is kind of like the lesson for Peter too, is this is not us. This is not what we're about. We're not about this violence and violent rebellion or anything. So there's a lesson there for Peter. And then, as I said, later on we read about Peter denying Jesus, and when have we been in those positions where Jesus has been brought up, Jesus in our circles, and Jesus has been mocked in our circles, or maybe someone just is using his name in vain constantly, and we stay silent. Peter, he was as passionate as they come, as we see here, protecting Jesus, but he was also vulnerable, and in those instances where he denied Jesus, I mean, we're talking about angry mobs that were probably ready to inflict harm on him, So let's just, before we judge Peter or anything, let's put ourselves in those positions and think of how we would react, But so again, I just that you read these scriptures. Read the different accounts. You know, there's the gospel story is in what we refer to as the four gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And we get different perspectives on how things went down, and we see, the similarities, and we see details that John gives that Mark doesn't give, and details that Matthew gives that Luke doesn't give. And it's just good to contrast and compare. So when we do take this story to our neighbors that need to hear it, we have all those details. And of course, it's the greatest story ever. It's the greatest event that has ever happened on this earth. And it's simple to tell. We can have all these details when we dig deeper with our neighbors, but the crux of it, the bones of it, is a very simple story to tell, and you all know it. So I hope that, if not this season doesn't open opportunities, I hope you find open doors soon to get this message out, because it's our command, that we are to go and tell others and make disciples and multiply. So let's never back off on that. Let's never take our foot off the gas. We got one shot at this, and we want to bring as many with us to that eternal resting place as we can. So that's what I got for you guys today. I appreciate you joining me. I do wish you all that are watching a happy and blessed Easter, and we'll see you next time. Grace and peace.